Hello, everyone. Welcome to this press conference for the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Would you please welcome with me now that celestial hybrid empath mantis, Klementieff. Groot himself, Vin Diesel. Writer and director, James Gunn. Peter Quill, alias Star-Lord, Chris Pratt. Martial arts master Gamora Zoe Saldana, and the incredible Nebula Karen Gillan. Hey guys, you're allowed to sit. Welcome, have a seat. Welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you with us here in Paris. Thank you so much for being here with us. I'm going to start with a few questions and then we'll open it up to all the journalists in the house. Just to start, how did the premiere, the European Gala screening go yesterday? What was it like? Chris?
It was incredible. Yeah, we were in Disneyland Paris at the Avengers campus. It was thousands of people, rabid fans, very excited, and it was a fantastic moment. It was really cool. I thought it was beautiful. We were sitting up on this. Well, you saw the picture. This big, gorgeous spaceship with these fireworks. It was a surreal moment.
Mm. And James, I mean, we were talking about this yesterday at the premiere. It is a bittersweet moment, of course, for you and for all of you. But if you were to sum it up, how would you best sum up the trilogy and your experience driving the trilogy from the beginning?
I would sum it up as all-encompassing. Over the past 11 years of my life, I think I've probably spent 60% of my time thinking about the Guardians of the Galaxy. So this has taken up my entire life. So there is a weird situation where I just have to adjust everything about my world to be about something other than the Guardians, which is difficult. But it's also, frankly, it's just a big relief also to feel like we finished this trilogy and we finished it in a way that we're really proud of, and that where all the characters, I think, get the dignity they deserve. And so I'm really excited about that aspect of it.
Zoe, tell us about Gamora. How fun was it for you this time around to kind of be in badass mode?
I think that Gamora is always in badass mode, but this time around, it's a different Gamora. We all know the destiny she had in the last Avengers movie, and she's from another multiverse, and she's rough around the edges. She's a little wilder. She's let loose a little bit more, in my opinion. It was fun. It was fun getting into this Gamora.
Karen, how about for you? How is Nebula different, or how has she changed in this one?
Nebula's pretty different this time around. I think we're sort of seeing a slightly lighter side to her personality, a little bit more humor. I think. Is she funny? And yeah, a little bit more like willing to show vulnerability, which has been quite difficult for her with her upbringing with Thanos. And so it's nice to kind of evolve the character into somebody who is willing to accept love for the first time and willing to show love to people for the first time in her life.
Palm, we've really seen Mantis grow and evolve, becoming such a beloved character with a really fun storyline. Some people say that she's kind of the glue that holds the Guardians family together. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think it's true. But also, Mantis has been through a lot before meeting the Guardians, and she felt pretty lonely. And the Guardians of the Galaxy are the family that she was craving for. So it's beautiful to see that. And then she found a brother too, which is Peter Quill. And and it was like really, really fun to get to play with more emotions and to get to kick ass as well, and to get to show a side of Mantis that is more fiery and more mad sometimes. And thank you, James.
You're welcome.
Vin, Groot is really incredible. Groot has probably become one of the most, if not the most famous character with the most iconic line. We've seen Baby Groot, Teen Angsty Groot. Who's Groot this time around in Volume 3?
That's a good question. Well, first of all...
Mike.
Oh, my God.
It's early.
All right. So first of all, not to change the subject, but obviously we all went through the pandemic. And I want you all here to know how much we really appreciate that you guys have come up and are entertained by us and care about us enough to come from wherever you're coming from and celebrate this final film in this trilogy. So an applause to all of you. Je suis content. Groot is such a special character. I'm so lucky and so grateful that James Gunn created this archetype, this character. He's fascinating in the sense that every single film he's different. Sometimes he's Baby Groot, sometimes he's Alpha Groot. But what makes Groot work so well is not only James Gunn, but the entire cast that's up here. They're the ones that bring Groot to life. They're the ones that Groot reacts to. He's able to have 3 monosyllabic words that mean something to you because of all of their incredible performance. So I'm just incredibly grateful, and I love the character very, very, very much. I will always cherish the character, and I feel very grateful that that I have James Gunn and I have this incredible cast here that has brought Groot to life.
Thanks for that, Vin. All right, I'm going to open it up to you all. Who would like to start? Do you have a first question? Isolde, voilà, OK. Je vois juste ici devant.
Hi, my name is Mohammed. I'm editor-in-chief for Comic Systems and Crunchyroll News. So first of all, thanks a lot. That has been a great journey. There's one message I would like to say first. I'm Groot. That's going to say, I love you guys.
He just said bad stuff about you.
No.
I understand the language, and he's saying really nasty stuff about you.
About me?
About you specifically.
Wow.
No, he actually said all of us are pretty cool, but Chris Pratt's a dork.
You really? Muhammad, that was,
That's
I
what
mean,
he said.
okay.
So
I
rude.
agreed with you.
Yeah, he's like, well, gotta say it, man.
This is a nightmare.
I love you guys.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. What's your question?
Big question. So this movie is a big turnaround, and maybe this is probably one of the best promos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe lately. How did you handle this? Like, just trying to not show everything, but just give everyone enough to just get us through this emotional ride. And that question goes to everyone, but also to you, because
Like
your movie.
the promotional
promo in
marketing
general.
material?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard, you know. I mean, in this day and age, like, let's, you know, Chris and I talk all the time. We're like, oh, they're putting this scene online now. Do we really want that? Is that too much? You know, I mean, I guess it gets more people to go to the theater. So it's a balance. But, you know, in some ways, I wish there was nothing ever out about anything. It's just go see this movie and then have everybody totally surprised. So it is difficult finding the balance with the marketing team in terms of how much we give away and how much we don't. And hopefully we've, you know, strike a balance. I also think that people have learned over the years online how to consume promotional material for themselves, and people are different. Some people want to see as much as possible, and so they seek it out and they watch it. And some people don't want to see so much, and they take in less. I know, like, on my, you know, social network feeds, I don't post everything. I don't post the scenes because a lot of people don't like to watch the scenes before they see the movie. I post, you know, the trailers, the few things that we have that don't give too much away. So I think that people now can kind of control that media for themselves, which is a good thing.
What about on a deeper level when it comes to the script or to actual shooting or your interactions? How did you balance between the funny and the emotion? Because I find that that's really great in the movie. Was that something you all talked about? I don't know, Pam?
I mean, it's James. It's James who writes the script and who's, you know, he's an incredible conductor of orchestra. You know, he knows exactly when to hit you with the emotion and to be grounded in something very deeply emotional and beautiful, and and then surprise you with something funny, but just the right amount. You know. Because I see a lot of movies that are funny all the time and ironic all the time, and then it doesn't touch me anymore. So you're able to find this balance, and it's very, very special, I think.
Okay, another question? Yeah, right here.
Maxime from Jurek2. So I have a question for you, James. The Guardian 3 is more brutal, even more violent than the other MCU movie. What does it mean exactly that you have free will, full permission to do that movie?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was talking to one of the guys in here earlier, one of the journalists. It's like I've pretty much been able to, you know, I'm in a very rarefied position in Hollywood where I'm able to make movies that are of a certain budget level, but that are also what is, true for me as much as possible, and I don't have interference from people. That doesn't mean I don't take a lot of feedback and see what works and what doesn't. And I think that this movie, it was important to really be raw with it. The characters, I love these characters. I think they're beautiful. I think that Rocket's story is the heart of this trilogy for me. And so to be able to tell that story fully, it does have some more brutal elements to it, because I don't want to shy away from that. But I'm also really careful not to show everything. I think that a lot of the things that are brutal in the movie are actually things that are in your mind as opposed to what you see. It's the idea of things as opposed to what we actually see on screen. So.
And there's also some incredible fight scenes. I mean, kind of taking brutality to another more, logistical level. How do you all prepare for the fight scenes? Like I know, for example, Zoe, you come from a dance background. Did that help?
I feel like it's the only reason I've been able to participate in this genre of action in films, because of my athletic background. It's just how does that happen? What takes place? A lot of rehearsals, a lot of conversations with James in terms of what he wants your character to do. And you lean in, you work with the stunt department. They usually surround us with amazing trainers, and you have a blast. I have a ton of videos that I can't wait to show with you guys after May 3rd or May 5th, because I finally started to document that process. As I'm getting older, my body definitely aches every time I do my stunts. And this time around, I really wanted to share the process that takes place, because it's fun, it's grueling, it's a lot of work, but the end result is so wonderful.
Another question right here.
Bonjour, France Télévisions, bravo pour le film. Bonjour, ma question est pour Chris. Le film parle beaucoup d'amitié. Quel type d'amitié vous avez noué entre vous et quelle prochaine collaboration vous souhaitez au sein de l'univers Marvel?
Okay, so Chris, the question's for you. He says the movie obviously is a lot about friendship. Can you talk a bit about the friendship that's kind of been created amongst yourselves? And also, la deuxième question, c'était sur l'avenir, en fait. And how do you see your future, or Star-Lord's future, going forward in this universe?
Well, yeah, the destination of this film, May 3rd, May 5th, whenever it opens, everyone planting your asses in a seat and just being swept away on this journey. That's the destination. That's where we're headed. That's where day one of his pre-production, that's the destination. The journey getting there is something that is really private and personal, and I know that we're all willing to share certain elements of it, but to us, at least to me, that to me is the real magic of being able to do this job. I mean, I love the fact that the movie gets to come out and that the world is going to be seeing it, and the journey of getting there. On a lot of films, it's not great. On a lot of films, you have assholes you have to deal with, you have a bunch of problems, people are fighting behind the scenes, and you would never know that. It's not the case with this film. The relationships between each of the people has been, to me, the most the most enjoyable aspect of playing this character. The bonds that I have with James Gunn, just doing bits nonstop, constantly making ourselves laugh and being on, even if literally no one else is in the room. Like, it's a nonstop thing. Getting to know each of these people, seeing their children being born, attending their weddings, being a part of their lives in a real way. That's an extraordinary thing that we get to do, and kind of rare, I think, because there's not a lot of jobs that put you into the pressure cooker situation to create strong relationships between people. It's a crucible in which you're going to forge very tight bonds with people. And then that's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is Star-Lord, his future. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. At this point, I think I'm, open to doing more. I want to preserve mystery around the fate of the character through the course of the movie. I think the best way to watch this movie is knowing very little about the future of the characters, because the stakes are very high, and obviously lives are at stake. I don't want to lead the audience away from anything other than this movie right now.
Thank you. Another question? Who's got the mic?
Ja, Okay. Hello, Sabine from Molderville. My question is about Rocket, your favorite. I was deeply moved by his story. I would like to know the relationship you have, with the animals, with the suffering or the experimentation, because this is real, the experimentation we are doing against the animal today. And also, how do you work with Sean? Because it's really well done. It's very powerful emotionally. And also for you, how do you work with Rocket and with Sean?
Great. Yeah, I do think that really this story is about empathy at the end of the day. And it's empathy for all living creatures and being as kind as we possibly can to all the people in our lives and all the creatures in our lives. That doesn't mean, that's not a political thing. It's simply, whatever your choices are with your relationship to animals, to be aware that they do have feelings and can experience pain. And so that's where we start this movie, with this little animal that's incredibly innocent, and go through the journey of that character becoming the character we know, which is a bitter little mean raccoon, who then, throughout the process of this movie, we see him a bit opening up to a wider sense of compassion and what that might mean. And so that, to me, is the heart of the three Guardians movies. They're about compassion. They're about opening ourselves up. They're about the way we close ourselves off, maybe due to selfishness, maybe due to our own experiences in life that haven't been so great, whether they're traumatic or just negative experiences, and how we use those as either an excuse or just something deeply embedded in us not to open up to our fellow human beings. And this is a movie about this group of outcasts up here, who they play outcasts in the movie, and some of us are outcasts. Most of us up here are outcasts, except for Chris, who's had a charmed life and really easy life. So, but yeah, so that's really what this is. That's what this series of films is about, and it was really important to me. The reason why I chose to do this movie and to come back and do this movie is because I felt like a deep, deep need to finish Rocket's story. And that's what brought me to do it. I work with my brother Sean. He is the hero of our lives when we're making this movie. He brings so much to Rocket. A lot of his emotions are based on Sean's acting in this movie. He actually is the voice of young Rocket, so he has a much bigger piece. That's not to take anything away from Bradley Cooper, who is one of my favorite people and an incredible actor and brings so much emotion through his voice. And in this movie in particular, he and I worked incredibly hard going through the scenes again and again and again. Like, if we have one of these guys do a scene on set, I make him do it a bunch of times, and it gets, hard, and I push him and I push him and I push him, and it gets better and better. But with me and Bradley, we have and also with Vin, we have no limit to how many times we can do something. And Bradley, I give him the movie, he takes it home. He sends me new kinds of ways to do things, and we just keep doing it again and again. So that's that. But Sean is, I think these guys all, this is, we had the last scene with the Guardians in the hallway, where we shot with all of these guys for the last time, along with Dave and Sean. And that's, those are the Guardians on set. And that day was incredibly emotional because there is a bond between all of us.
Right. I mean, I can only imagine after all these years together, 10 years. Karen, is there anything that surprised you the most about this experience over the past decade of being a Guardian?
Oh, surprised me.
Yeah, or something you didn't think was going to be, if you had known where you were 10 years ago, that you would be feeling this today?
I mean, I didn't actually know. I wasn't sure that I was going to become a fully fledged Guardian, actually. Like, James had told me that this character was going to evolve in all these amazing ways, but I didn't realize I was going to be a Guardian. And then we were filming, this movie, and I got to wear the uniform. We did the obligatory slow motion walking shot to cool music, and I felt cool, and I felt like a Guardian, and I was like, oh my God, I've graduated.
Who's got the mic now, please? Voilà, juste ici.
Hi, I'm Danny from Switzerland, and I would like to know what is first, James? Is it the music and the song, or is it the scene? And does the guys left and right have any influence on the selection of the songs?
Why? Because they're of that generation.
On the second thing, no. On the first thing, it really is, it comes together. You know, I mean, I keep a list of music that'll work for the movie and try to come up with a feel. This movie was by far the most difficult to put the music together for, and I changed it and changed it and changed it throughout the process. When they got the first script, it was some different music in it than what we ended up with, not in the last script. But it's while I'm writing, I simply listen to a bunch of different music while I'm writing and then try to fit that together in the scene. So it's very concurrent, the writing of the script and the picking of the music.
Just a quick question for you, Vin, before we move on to the next question. We've got journalists here from all across Europe. I saw that you actually did the dubbing of your lines in many different languages. Do you remember a couple you can do for them? If you don't,
Besides,
it's okay.
Je suis Groot.
Yeah.
Non, non, it's
Je suis content.
Je s'appelle Groot, c'est ça? Je s'appelle Groot.
No.
Je s'appelle Groot.
Je s'appelle Groot.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, we got friends.
Okay.
That's a good start.
Anyone add, Chris?
Io sono Groot.
Io sono Groot.
Ich bin Groot.
Ich bin Groot.
Ich bin Groot.
Give me some other ones.
Just
Anything you want to add,
That's the
James?
Scottish one.
I don't know. Got it.
And
Dude's got it.
Scottish, what is it?
I am Groot.
I am Groot. I like that. I think I got it, right?
All right, that's very impressive. Thank
Okay.
you. Another question. Who's got the mic?
Hi, Tommaso from El País, Spain. Two questions, one for James. You've been doing some, like, let's call it different superhero movies. Also, you've been defending superhero movies by some even famous directors who said that, I mean, they're becoming a little bit boring, more of the same, too many, etc., etc. Is it frustrating to have to do that on one side, and on the other, do you see their point in some of the critics? And for the rest
Oh, I agree with that point. I've never argued against that. I think that there are many superhero movies that are becoming boring, so I would never argue that. What the thing that I take, you know, some offense to is saying that there's, you know, cinema has a tradition of different genres. And, you know, there are amazing Westerns, there are amazing gangster films, and there are amazing films that are based on comic books. And I am not you know, I believe that all of those things can be real and all of those things can be cinema. And saying that one type of film, because of the subject matter or because of the characters, aren't cinema is ludicrous.
The second question for the rest of the, well, for all the rest, you've been working with James for like many years, 3 movies. You've been supporting him in the most difficult moment. What about him? Like, what's special, what's different about him as a person and also as a director? Thanks.
Chris?
Me?
What's great about me?
You were looking
What's-
reflective.
What's great about me? That's the question.
gosh.
What do you love most about
Don't
me?
worry, this will be quick. James, gosh, I can compare him to the other directors that I've worked with. I've worked with a lot of great directors, but there's something about James, what sets him apart, his preparation. He's always very prepared. He works tirelessly. He doesn't shut his mind off. For these films in particular, he's a student of the comic book genre, films and the canon of comic books that have existed in Marvel and in DC and in outside of that as well. I stayed at his house while I was working on a film recently, and he's got a library of comic books that all of the indexes are well worn. He reads this stuff. He lives and breathes this stuff, so he's the right guy for this. He's been making movies forever. He had a great start making movies for no money, which really you have to learn how to really stretch a dollar. And when you're talking about having 150 or 200 million of those dollars, he can really make them stretch to give you the very best return on the investment. He knows action very well. He knows how to talk to people. He's incredibly articulate. He has a very clear vision, and will tell you if something's not working. He knows how to direct various people based on their personalities. What might work for one person won't work well for another. He's got a wealth of experience and knowledge. He's an incredibly empathetic person. He cares deeply about people. He cares a lot about animals, and he's really fucking weird. And so that's like helpful because he's a misfit himself. So when he's creating a story about misfits, he knows the heart of a misfit. He wants to tell the story in the heart of a misfit. Him and his brother Sean, he's been torturing his brother Sean on screen since they were kids, and you look at the dedication that Sean has to playing Rocket. This is an incredibly unsung hero of our show. He gets very little credit. His face isn't on the work, his voice isn't in the work, and yet every single fucking day he shows up, he puts real passion in it. When he's crying tears, they're real tears. He's down on his hands and knees playing this character in a way that they would do for free. They happen to do it for a lot of money because they're worth it, but they would literally do it for no money because it's what they've been meant to do.
That's amazing. Thank you. Well said.
Psych. He is a piece of shit.
All right, who's got the mic, please? Right over here.
Bonjour. You ruined it. You ruined it.
Bonjour, Julie pour le Journal du Geek. Donc ma question c'est, ça fait 6 ans qu'on n'a pas vu les Gardiens de la Galaxie dans un film solo. Est-ce que ce temps a été bénéfique au développement et en quoi ça a changé le film?
Okay, so it's been 6 years since we've seen the Guardians as an entity together. Has that time been beneficial when it comes to perhaps your character evolution or moving forward with the movie or your roles? I don't know, maybe Pam, you want to speak to that?
Oh my God, how has it been different for me? I don't know. It's like about the script. Maybe it just gave more...
Maybe your
Well,
relationship...
Your character changed a lot.
Yeah. Also, we shot the holiday special, which was so much fun to shoot. I got to be the weirdest I had ever been, which was so nice.
Except for in real life.
Don't tell them that. No, I kept asking James, am I doing too much? And he was like, no, it's the holiday special. Go crazy. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna go crazy. Hello. We do that all the time on set.
There's something that happened in Endgame, Avengers Endgame, and in Infinity War where Gamora dies and then comes back a different version of herself. And I think that was something that in that 6-year period allowed for a type of limitation where James had to use his imagination to try to figure out how that's going to have an impact on the relationship between Quill and Gamora. And wow, I'm really grateful that was the reality because we're able to explore a romantic relationship over the course of a trilogy that's really goes against the grain and subverts your typical romantic trope because of who she is, because she doesn't know who she is. It's a really powerful exploration into loss between people who love one another when the other person that you've lost is standing right in front of you. I haven't seen that before in movies, and so I thought that made it a really original take on your traditional romantic story.
It was really fresh. It was interesting as well because trying to play into that love story of I don't know who this man is. I have no shared experiences that I can lean on, but yet he feels so familiar. So that playing that confusion was an unconventional love story for sure. But it was a love story. They still had chemistry.
Yeah, and you're such a...
She still found you annoying.
All of these characters... all of these characters are so damaged, and so I was able to, or Quill was able to witness how Gamora became a much better, more happy and fulfilled person through finding the romantic love with Quill, but also the love of her family with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So as a guy who desperately loves her, he wants so badly for her to just have that again. And this is a person now in this installment. If you guys have all seen the film, obviously you know what happens. I don't want to spoil it, but he's desperate for her to find that love, not just because it would fill his heart again, but also because he knows what it meant for her.
I think it's an interesting thing when you work with people for so long, in such long shoots, and then you become friends with them outside of that process. You get to know them on a molecular level. So it makes the movies naturally, in some ways, get more interesting because I know that how funny Karen is. And so Nebula all of a sudden has a humorous streak that she didn't have in the first movie. I know that Zoe has this way to be so focused on one thing and just be there. And so it makes she's much more of a tougher crazier, meaner character in this movie because I know what she's able to do and how cool she is, you know? And Pom is absolutely insane. And so I can bring that to the character of Mantis. No, it's like, I knew that from the beginning. Yes. And Vin, you know, he's really good at saying I am Groot.
Okay.
Getting better.
Who's got the mic? Here we go, please.
Hello, my name is Antea from Notre Cinema, and I have two questions. So the first one is for Pom. How do you see the future of the character, because the path, the importance of the path she chose at the end?
Oh my God, it's very hard for me to imagine Mantis without James Gunn. So I can't even imagine it because he wrote the arc of our characters, and he even when we were in the Avengers movies, he was like making sure that the storyline of the characters made sense, and also the words that came out of my mouth were always written by James Gunn or like supervised by him, you know. So I don't know, but if there is another special, maybe a Mantis Shroom special would make sense. With a lot of little shrooms. So I don't know. But I don't think James Gunn would love to write that, so maybe not.
Are you like, is this like a Mario thing that you're talking about?
No, it's like kind of psychedelic and fun.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you guys have ideas?
Mantis on shrooms. You heard it here first.
Okay.
And you had another question?
Another question for Zoe. So how did you manage to put yourself into the shoes of this new Gamora in terms of acting? Because it's the new Gamora, and so the fact that the fans need to know that this Gamora is no longer the Gamora they know. Is there any change between the two?
I think I didn't want to get in her way. Obviously, I was missing the old Gamora. We're creatures of habit. We like what we're used to. But in order for me to be this new character, I really needed to not get in her way. And I needed to understand that her path is her own. And so that kind of, it was hard. It was hard because, you know, but using also that bittersweetness, that knowing that this was the last time for Gamora, and knowing that this is possibly the last time for the Guardians, and just allowing that melancholy to be there was fun, was fresh. And also she's crazy. There's a crazy side to Gamora that I just felt like, oh, you're definitely somebody that I may want to hang out with now.
So after all this time, as you guys walked off the set, did you take anything? Do you have a little souvenir that you're going to keep for the rest of your lives from the set that you're allowed to talk about?
I took a pinwheel. The pinwheel?
Oh, did you take the pinwheel?
I don't know how you say in French pinwheel, by the way. It was
really?
cute. And also a little ukulele, but it's not in the movie anymore, so what's... you know. Anyway.
Anybody else? Anything fun?
I have there's a scene in the Bat family's home where we have all their photographs and all their weird little sculptures and paintings on the wall of what we call the humanimals. I got everything from that house. Yeah, it's all up in my house, house in Aspen.
What, all the pictures?
Yeah, the paintings. I have that pug dog, and I have all those little sculptures with those little weird things up in my house. Yeah.
What about the rest of you, Karen?
Oh, this isn't exactly answering that, but we shot that Humanimals scene right after my bachelorette party, which was, so me and Pom was one of my bridesmaids.
Oh my
so
God.
we were there like, are you saying this? It was a wild experience.
Yeah,
anyway.
We're like, are we hallucinating?
Yeah,
is it
like,
real
you're
life?
saying that,
What
right?
is this?
Anyway, did I take anything? I accidentally took a pair of socks by accident. I still have them and I still wear them, but they're not really like Nebula. They're like underneath the costume, so that's not interesting at all. Sorry.
I take socks all the time and underwear.
You take underwear?
Yeah, just steal it. Why would I give it back? It's weird to give it back anyway, no?
Oh, yeah, I guess they're not going to use it again, hopefully.
Or maybe they could, but that would be weird too.
Yeah.
Zoe, what did you take?
No, everything is just so top secret that the thought of taking something and being called out by Marvel just was petrifying. But I've kept every sweatshirt that I get, every T-shirt that I get from every department that has been kind enough to extend that gift to me. And my dad and my father-in-law wear all of them all the time because I'm always given they're always like in large or sizes that are not mine, but we've kept just souvenirs like the hats and the posters. Every time we're doing press tours, I've tried to ask to have a poster that's signed by all the cast, so that one day when my kids find me cool again, they can have it, and they won't like sell it for charity and like buy themselves, I don't know, a pair of sneakers and stuff. I don't know.
And Vin, how about you? I mean, I know you weren't actually on the set, but do you have anything from?
Well, I'm lucky that, and this goes back to a question you asked earlier about James Gunn. He is so thorough, and everybody talks about it, but he's so thorough that, and over-prepared in a good way, that he comes to our sessions with a script that has the intention of every single I Am Groot. And so, starting 10 years ago, so I've always felt really privileged that I'm the only human on the planet that gets this script. And so I cherish all of them very much.
That's great. And we're almost out of time, but Chris, just to wrap up, what about you?
Oh yeah, I always steal a bunch of shit from set. I got all kinds of stuff.
My wallet.
Yeah, I got your wallet. I got a lot of really great stuff. I took some stuff out of Quill's apartment. I took some stuff from nowhere, some like salt shakers and some stuff that was from the restaurant scene. I took a bunch of that stuff, and I never ask. I just take it. It's great. I have my wardrobe. I take that. Usually, costume departments loses like 1 or 2 of their costumes every time. And I got my gloves, and I got my boots, and
Oh my God, you've taken a lot of stuff.
What the hell?
I know, but it should also be pointed out that like Chris stole like the first Star-Lord uniform, but then he was wearing it to hospitals with kids.
one day they're going to be like, "Sir,
Oh, that's why you
sir,
were doing
it's not
it.
relevant anymore. You're going to have
Print
to leave."
that. Print that. That's important.
Yeah, and all. Yeah, well.
Well, listen, thank you so much to all of you. It's been such a pleasure to have you with us here in Paris. We're so sorry we're all out of time, but let's give them a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you,
you
guys.
so
Thank you
much.
so much. Really, thank you.